Welcome back to another edition of Everything Football. I'm your host, Jonathan Big Tex Johnson. You got the playoff games coming on today, and one of the things you see, I got the hat on and everything, representing, see what the Cowboys going to do a little bit later on today. But one of the things that I want to say is that if Dallas wants to win this game and wants to advance to the Super Bowl, one of the things Dallas will have to do is definitely they have to tighten up on their defense. Ever since that Saints game where they had the phenomenal defensive stand against the high flying Saints at the time, they have basically been non-existent if you take a look at it. And let's do that right quick. In order for them to be able to do that, because it's funny to me, a lot of people that sit up there and say, "Oh, Dallas going to Super Bowl." And it was like, well, people got Chicago talking about Chicago going to Super Bowl, and I mean with that hell of a defense they got. But I'm like, I'm not that sold on Mitch Trubisky yet. He's been steady, but inconsistent at times. But I'm like, Dallas has just as much a chance of going and winning the Super Bowl as any team out there with a strong run. But right now, ever since the Saints game, Dallas has given up 25 points a game since after the Saints game. Starting with the Eagles, they gave up 23 points. They gave up 222 yards passing. They only gave up 34 rushing yards. It was 256. The Colts, they gave up 23 points. Only 192 passing with luck. But the guy, Marlon Mack, he rushed for 39 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's 370 total yards. Buccaneers, they gave up 20 points, 320 yards to famous Jameis Winston and stuff. They gave up 63 yards, but they still won the game. Those other two, even with the Eagles, they won that game and whatnot. If you look at the rush totals, they're down. Anytime when the totals are up, go to the next. And for the Bucs, that was 383 yards of total offense. Giants, they gave up 35 points to the Giants. Remember, in that game, basically in the second, getting ready to go into halftime, I think they just sacked Eli, or either it was a penalty, and they was back on basically on their own 10, and that was like 3rd and 10, 33, whatever it was, and obviously it was a draw to Saquon Barkley, who they had bottled up. He had that 26-yard run, but after that, he was bottled up. He wasn't going anywhere. He busts out the 68-yarder, and boom, bip, there he is, ends up having 109 or 10 yards, but then he lost a couple of yards, ended up finishing with 107 yards. They had basically bottled him up, and that gave them momentum for them to do for Eli to open up, because like I say, these games are things of a lot of momentum. Go back to the Colts game, the missed field goal. Then the guy who dropped, then the tight end, the back out of the backfield drops the ball, and then Zeke on 4th and 1 on the 2-yard line where they could get a first down with 1 yard and then still have it out and still have 4 shots added on the 1-yard line. So that was a game changer just from momentum standpoint of view and for attitude. And then they just got ended up getting beat 23-zip. They give up Giants 298 yards passing, 143 rushing, 109 from Saquon Barkley in the touchdown. It's 441 total yards. So in that 4-game stretch, they've given up 1,030. They've given up they've given up a total of 1,450 yards. That's what they've given up for total offense, which in turn that turns into, like I say, 25.5 points a game, 258 yards passing, 104 yards rushing, and 362 total. And they're a better defense than that. And they've displayed that. They just that after that Colts game, they just didn't do it. Ironically enough, whenever they stop someone rushing, they win. Now they normally if they stop those guys rushing, they pretty much win. If they don't, they lose. Now, with the exception of the Giants, because with Dak making that hell of a play, all intents and purposes, that game was basically over, except for a hell of a play with Dak and Cole Beasley. But their defense has to step up. Dallas is ranked, I think, 6th. They're 5th in rush defense. They're 13th in pass defense, and they are 6th in points. So 6 overall is their rank, and they're going against the highest ranked rushing defense, highest ranked rushing offense in the league. With the Seahawks, who I think got, who's got quite a few out of the shotgun, got over 1,700 yards just out of the shotgun alone. Got Penny, of course they got Wilson, and they have another back there. So they're going to have to be able to do that, and they're going to have Jalen Smith has to mirror, he has to shadow, he has to almost play like a rover or a monster. They need to make sure he mirrors Russell Wilson, because Van Der Esch has really good speed, but he's not as fast as Smith. So he's going to have to make sure that when Lawrence and Gregory and them guys got to be on their best behavior penalty-wise and not do stupid penalties. And they got to make him step up in the pocket. Not have him really they have to make him step up in the pocket and whatnot. Or try to step up in the pocket. You don't want him rolling around creating. He's a wizard. He's a magician. I mean, I love Russell Wilson's game. And like I said, the reason why I love his game because he feels as though I'm not out of it until I'm playing all the way until the clock goes zero. And that's his play. That's his play. So if we're behind, we're not out of it, there's still a chance. So that's the way he plays ball. And they're going to have to do something about that particular situation. So if they're able to do that, offense has to do, if Dak can do exactly what Dak replicated in that game, Eagles game, Giants game, Eagles game, and even the Eagles game, the Giants game, if he can replicate something similar to that, just be accurate and don't turn the ball over and let Zeke going to do what Zeke's going to do against another formidable defense led by the great Bobby Wagner. Those guys have a chance. They have a chance to sit up there and do what they need to do. And have to, end up watching out for these guys. But that's what I'm saying, though. It's like these are the keys of what they have to do. And like I say, it's going to all be based upon their defense and, of course, them not making mistakes and trying to get the ball also to Amari Cooper. But the main thing, it's about feeding Zeke the ball. That's the main thing. The main thing is get him the ball, get him involved, get a couple of pop passes to Amari Cooper because I'm kind of see from him, because he's a low-key type young brother, it doesn't really come out that much. But I can tell by the reactions on his face of these last few games, he's a powder. If he doesn't get the ball, he's kind of a powder. Especially, you know what I'm saying, he'll do a little bit of pouting. So they need to go ahead and get him involved early in the game and whatnot. Keep getting him to that new tight end. They might turn the corner with that. And like I said, don't turn the ball over there, and it shouldn't be no problem. And they got it at home at Texas Stadium and whatnot. And that is the formula for them for success to go through that at the NFC, and they'll be able to match up with anybody, in my opinion, because they already beat the Saints. And the Saints if you take a look at it, hasn't really been that high power flying since that game. If you go, and I might do a little breakdown on what Drew Brees has done, and it hasn't been what he was since that Dallas game. So that's something for people to probably look at on and whatnot. But those are the keys of Dallas. Their defense has to play better. The offense that's why I know that it's so funny to me that everybody was asking, well, why come how come Dak is playing? Why not? He knows he needs to be consistent. He knows he needs to be consistent. But what gets me is, in all the years that I sit up there and watch Tom Brady and watch the Patriots, I have never seen Tom Brady take week 16 off. I don't think I've ever seen him take week 16 off. If anybody down in the comments below want to challenge me to that, I could be wrong, but I highly doubt it. And you could tell me whatever game that was. But even the year when they went 16-0, when they had everything wrapped up by week 10, week 11, when they had destroyed everybody for the most part, by week 12 they had pretty much clinched it. They clinched everything. What was the point of Tom Brady still playing? It was records to be broken. That's why he played. But I didn't think, you were supposed to play because no. That they don't play that. You don't see Belichick's team sitting everybody down up in buys. Them guys, we play. We play football. You train to play football, not sit on the sideline. If you have a real bad injury and it needs to be rest, I guess so. But for the most part, I can't never recall Brady, I'm not playing. Can't ever recall that. He's always playing. So I don't see what was the big deal about Dak not playing. Why Dak was playing. You know what I'm saying? And I would have played Zeke. I mean, but you can get hurt either way, so it really doesn't matter at that particular point. So my thing of it is that he was honing his skills, and he needs to, because he had been a little inconsistent, and he needs to do that. And I think if these guys looking for paydays and all that, but if he wants to become legendary, this is the year to do that. This is the time for Dak and the Cowboys and that young team, because they're still young, to sit up there and etch themselves throughout Cowboy history and just in the NFL and start making a nice 3 or 4 year run that would take them up there and probably rival that of the other Cowboy dynasty with the triplets with Irvin, Emmett, Aikman, and all them guys, and and Big Nick Newton and all those guys, and Haley and Norton and all them other guys, Woodson and whatnot. This is the time that these guys need to do it on the but they need to come alive on the defensive side of the ball. I'm like, it's too many holes been going on up in there, and they need to go ahead on and tighten that up. And if they want to become legendary, this is what DeMarcus Lawrence. You want your money, you want to be known as a great one. Do what Charles Haley used to do. Okay, same with Gregory. You know what I'm saying? Do what them guys used to do. Let's make it happen. Awuzie and all them guys and stuff that in the secondary and whatnot, it's time to step that game up. You follow what I'm saying? I'm going to probably be back during the day a lot of times, getting prepped up for the games and stuff coming up and whatnot. And I'll probably be back later, probably be back in a few minutes with another little thing. Like I said, there's no GOAT or greatest of all time as long as time is still going on. Y'all have a good one.